Welcome back to my little channel. Today's topic is going to be something that I have addressed in some of my videos in the past, but I'm going to go a little deeper into. It's the disproportional number of homicides in America's black community. I'm not doing this to say black people are bad. If this is what you take out of it, I wish you would have listened a little bit better. What I am doing this for, though, is to try and make people recognize that there is a genuine problem. And I'm not saying all black people are the cause of this problem, but all black people suffer because of this problem. And not just the black people, America as a whole suffers to this problem. This is one of the main reasons why the alt-right is so vehemently about defending whiteness, if you want to say or call it that, not because black people are bad, but because white people get the name of being bad. They get blamed for all sorts of things when the mere numbers show something else. Okay, you will hear lots of percentages, and I know people are like, yeah, but in raw numbers. Yeah, you might be right in raw numbers. But if 7% of a society is responsible for 50% of whatever happens in that society, then the raw numbers will follow the percentages. If you don't understand that, I'm willing to give an explanation, but not right here. Here we will talk about percentages. And yes, I know you can lie with numbers. In this case, no, it's not lying with numbers. It's unfortunately very clear. The only reason why certain people call it lying with numbers is because it will fit their narrative, which is unfortunate to call it at that. Okay, first off, I'm going to talk about ethnicities. All males die because of. Now, on average, we will see that all races combined, there's a 24% chance of dying of heart diseases, 23 of cancer, 6.4% of accidents, chronic lower respiratory diseases. It's usually due to overweight, if I'm not mistaken. But okay, 5%, stroke, 4%, etc., etc., etc. In the top 10 of all races, you will find that homicide is not a major reason for people to die in America, but only if we look at all races. Because if we look at Hispanics, suddenly homicide jumps in at the bottom at 2.3%. So it's the 9th reason for Hispanics to die. Whereas when we look at all whites, homicide isn't in there. And then we look at the black category and we see that 4.3% of all black people die of a homicide. That's the 5th most common reason for black people to die. I'm sorry, but if you don't think that's an issue, then you don't understand what we're talking about. Whereas the average person in America is most likely to die of a heart disease, which is only a little less than a quarter, fair enough. Homicide is the 5th most likely reason to die for black people. Even though they have roughly the same the same heart disease numbers as white people. I'm sorry, if you don't understand how this is a problem, then you are unfortunately considering that black people, well, they kill each other. It's as normal as heart disease. And these are of all males by ethnicities for all ages. If we go and look at the different ages, it comes out a little bit different. Because young people on average are more accident prone. And we see this with the unintentional injury reasons of death. For example, with black kids up until the age of 14, unintentional injuries are their main reason of death, which is the same with white males. But then, at age 15, something changes. Because unintentional reasons, accidents, keeps being the main reason of death for white kids, males. Not so with black males. You will see that already at the age of 1 year old, a white kid is only half as likely to be murdered than a black kid. Black kid is at 13.9, the white kid is 7.2. Way too high numbers, don't get me wrong. Even 7.2 to me is too high. But it's only half on the white side as it is on the black side. Now then, at age 5 to 9, we see homicide with black kids on 8%, whereas with white kids on 3.3%. Again, both too high, but black twice as high. And this trend continues. 10 to 14 years old, 10% on black side, 4% on white side. Again, twice as high. But then we see something else altogether. Between the ages of 45 to, let's say, 35, homicide becomes the primary cause of death with black males. If we look at the same number compared to the whites, I mean, it's not even half. It's less than half. If we combine suicide and homicide on the white side, it's still less than homicide on the black side. And yes, suicide, unfortunately, is also on the black side a relatively large issue. Funny enough, on white sides, it's way bigger than on the black side. I mean, suicide on the white side between the ages of 10 to 14 is 17, almost 18%. And suicide on the black side is 10%. Don't get me wrong, I would rather see that it was less than 1% on both categories. But if we then look at homicide, I'm sorry, it's not even close. In black society in America, a black kid from the age of 15 till the age of 35 is more likely to die because of a homicide than anything else. And if we look at the homicide range between 15 and, let's say, 24, it's almost half of all the black kids dying. That's more than, I'm sorry, that's more than heart disease in the total population. I mean, a black American is as likely to die from being murdered than a white American in the age categories of 15 to 19 from an accident. Why don't we see this as a problem? Why is it unfair to say, well, there's black on black crime? Well, hey, it's just trying to sidetrack the notion that black lives matter. No, it's not to sidetrack the notion. This is the main thing we're talking about. Because you know what? I believe black lives do matter. But I also believe black lives don't matter to Black Lives Matter. To black people in general. And I know there are plenty of black people who recognize these numbers and they want to do something about that too. But too many black people seem to think, no, it's white crime. Yeah, I know it's white crime. It's white this, white that. Listen, your community is killing itself. Homicide is a problem. It's always a problem. It's way too big a problem. Suicide is a problem. All these things can be prevented. This is what happens. But as long as we're not allowed to talk about this, the very, very strong differences in homicide between black males and white males, then there is nothing to talk about. We're not going to change anything. I'm seriously hoping that people will look at these numbers and not say, yeah, but will say, okay, how can we change this? Because that is what really needs to be addressed. The whole white guilt bullshit is to cover up this. And these are numbers from 2014. I mean, If we go further back, the numbers have been worse. But we see a sharp increase in 2015. Unfortunately, I can't really find accurate numbers. But can you imagine to see a sharp increase on 48%? This is what's killing black Americans. Who are killing black Americans? Yeah, the cops. No, not the cops. Yeah, white people. No, not white people. Black Americans are being killed by black Americans. Black Americans are being killed by Black Lives Matter. And I will show you the numbers for female too, because it's interesting. But can you see the disparity? Oh, fucking hell, my English is dreadful at the moment. I'm sorry. But can you see the differences in numbers? The primary cause of death for white males up until 44, because I'm not going to bother with showing the other statistics, is injuries. And unfortunately, that's a large number. And if we look at injuries age 1 to 4, both on kids white and kids black, they're roughly the same. But if we then look at homicide age 1 by black people or white people, and don't get me wrong, 7.2% is a way too high a number too, but black people almost double that. And then the older they get on white side, the numbers always stay far lower than on the black side. How come, America? And don't blame white people for the fact that black people kill black people. It's stupid. It doesn't make sense. Look at the female numbers. Because even if we look at the black female side of things, and females are on average less likely to be killed, they say, but we see that homicide in black females on average is almost twice as high as white females of the same age. And again, we see way too high numbers, especially for kids. Come on. Why do 1 to 4 year olds need to get killed that much? I don't understand this. It's beyond me. And even on the white side, it's only like 10%. But that's 10%, for fuck's sake. 10% of white kids, females between the age of 1 and 4, are being murdered. 16% of black little girls are being murdered. How the fuck can we go on and pretend that there isn't a big problem? I mean, injuries, unintentional injuries, accidents, terrible, but they sometimes cannot be prevented. Maybe sometimes they can, but shit happens. Homicide is not shit happens. Homicide is someone is letting shit happen. How can we not address these points? How can we keep talking about, yeah, but police violence? Fuck police violence. And yes, I think police violence is a huge issue, but in no way is it comparable to this. I mean, age 20 to 24, homicide on a white woman's is 7.1%, which is amazingly high in my humble opinion. But then we look at the black woman, well, yeah, woman, 20 to 24 is a woman, it's twice as high. Why are we not addressing this? Why, whenever someone points this out, yeah, but racist, yeah, but white supremacy. No, it's bullshit. It's not about supremacy. It's not about racism. It's about real issues that are facing our society. Can we please stop with the bullshit of Black Lives Matter? Can Black Lives Matter please address something like this? Yeah, but white supremacy, the KKK. The KKK aren't killing these people. On average, black people get killed by black people. White people get killed by white people. Hispanics get killed by Hispanics. Now, there are some discrepancies in this because black people tend to kill white people more than white people tend to kill black people. But these are niches. These are the edges of the numbers. 90% of black people, if not more, get killed by black people. 90% by white people, if not more, get killed by white people, etc., etc., etc. These are the real issues. And you're still talking about how a police officer killed a guy? Yeah, okay, maybe that guy shouldn't have been killed. In some cases, unfortunately, the police was acting in a good manner. But sometimes the police officer indeed was at fault. But in no way do those numbers compare to these. Can we please, as a society, say homicide is a problem? We don't need less police. We need more. We need well-trained police so that police brutality doesn't become an issue or doesn't stay an issue. But we don't need less police. We need more. Anyway, this is where my little rant will end. I hope you enjoyed my little video. I leave these numbers up till the end, or at least till the outro. And you know what? Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe. Post this wherever you can. Feel free to mirror it if you want. I don't care. I don't mind. These are the issues we should talk about. Share this with your black friends. If they have criticism, don't defend by saying, yeah, but black people, because this is a society issue. And yes, this is a societal issue on the black side, but in all fairness, it's also a societal issue on the white side, even though it might be a smaller one. Because, let's be honest, if I say 7.1% of all women in America are getting murdered, whether they're black or white, don't we all agree that 7.1% of women in an age category is too high? Don't we say it shouldn't be 7.1%? And yes, I know 24% homicide on black women is higher than 7.1. It's, as I said, double that. But even if it were only 7.1% on the black side of things, don't we still think that's too high? This is what we need to address. This is not about gun control. This is not about substance control. This is about behavior. I'm ranting again. I need to stop. Like, share, subscribe if you feel so inclined. And I am, as always, looking forward to your criticism. See you all next time.